You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I'm joined like I am most Mondays by Daylan Flowers. And we've got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about players that might surprise during this football season that is, I think, less than 2 months away, somewhere around 2 months. The kickoff is August 31st, so it's pretty close to that 2-month level. And we'll talk about the number of cowboy hats that Daylan's expecting to see at SEC Media Days. And, of course, we'll talk about the new uniform release that Ole Miss dropped today. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Back in Oxford, and southern summer weather has officially hit, so it's a little bit hot outside, but I'm doing good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, I was at Magic Kingdom last week, and it wasn't the hottest of days. There was a nice breeze, but if anybody's ever been to Magic Kingdom in June, it's one of the dumbest things you can do because it's all on concrete. There is no shade. And all I know is at the end of that day, I popped a couple of ibuprofens and I drank about 3 days worth of water.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. And it's funny because, I mean, we're just getting started. Summer really just started like a couple of days ago. And so the July and August heat will be 10 times worse than this. So we'll see how we figure out. But regardless, we got football back soon, like you said. So it's an exciting time for me, man.
All right. This is the most anticipated football season potentially ever for Ole Miss football. I mean, the golden age of football at Ole Miss was like 1957 to 1963. But this is Ole Miss going for their third 10-win season in 4 years. They're a predicted top 5 team. They have a quarterback coming back in Jackson Dart that is expected to be in New York for the Heisman Trophy. You have Trey Harris, who tomorrow I did a video for, that he's potentially the best wide receiver in all of college football and a legitimate Biletnikoff candidate when you look at the way wide receivers are treated by Lane Kiffin when he has a really good one, such as Amari Cooper, such as Marquise Lee. But who are the surprise players that you think are going to make the most impact going into this season?
Well, I've got a combination of two guys. First on the defensive side, and I'm thinking just how exciting seeing Sunterian Perkins team up with Chris Paul Jr. will be in our linebacking core. I cannot emphasize enough how much of a talent Chris Paul Jr. is and his ability to make open field tackles, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback from a line position as well. And he's really one of the best zone coverage linebackers there was in the conference last year as well. So I think he brings a lot of validity to our defense that allows Sunterian Perkins to kind of do things that we kind of saw him last year. Just be quick, be essential to pressure the quarterback and making those tackles when they want to dump it off to the running back or short. So I think that's going to be a fun combination, and I'm just excited to see how they play off one another. They've Sunterian had a fantastic freshman year with us last year, but I think he kind of fell into kind of still trying to figure out his role last year, and Pete kind of figure out how to play him and where to play him more than not last year. And so I think him being there with Chris Paul Jr. will be fun. And as well, we got TJ Dudley coming in kind of at that Peach Bowl moment last year, and we kind of got to see him, how he kind of fit with Sunterian in that linebacker core. So I'm really excited to see kind of those 2 or 3 guys kind of merge together and see what they can conform, because they all play really well, but they all kind of bring different things to our linebacking position. So I'm excited to see there. I won for offense. It was hard for me to think. But I'm going to go Jordan Watkins, and I know that's a name that Ole Miss fans know, and he had a phenomenal year last year, and of course, was a Louisville transfer. But he's a really explosive guy, especially in that slot position. And we saw last year what, deep ball threats like Dayton Wade and Trey Harris can do. Now Dayton Wade's gone. We still got Trey Harris, but now we got Antoine Juice Wells. And so now I expect even more with a guy like Juice Wells coming in for Jordan Watkins to have even more abilities to do more than just 3 touchdowns. When Jordan gets that ball in that open field, especially in the middle field, he's lights out gone. There's no stopping him when he gets up the field. And I think when you have deep ball threats like we do now, not just those 2 guys, but some of the, a lot of the transfer portal guys that we've gotten, and a few incoming freshmen as well. I think it's going to open up our offense a lot for Jordan Watkins, just to kind of sit there a little bit more and in the slot position in the middle of the field and just kind of be a menace, kind of be in an area that a lot of defenses aren't set up for. So I'm expecting him to kind of put up those numbers he did last year and even better. I know he had a few games where he was kind of banged up as well, so we hope for a full season of healthiness for him as well. But I really think Jordan Watkins is going to have an absolutely big year for us.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. First off, on your first point about Santarin Perkins, LSU was forced to move Harold Perkins into a true linebacker. Chris Paul is going to give Ole Miss the flexibility to allow Santarin Perkins to use his athleticism. That is a benefit to Ole Miss. You're going to hear people frame it in a different way, probably because of what LSU did with Harold Perkins. But that was a dumpster fire defense a year ago. Yeah. And the Jordan Watkins pick, I do think Jordan Watkins might be the most underrated player in the whole conference, because even now in the Ole Miss fan base, everybody's talking about and looking forward to what Juice Wells could be and what would Deion Smith be. And so I think that is a really good deal. I think the surprise player that everybody needs to look for, I think Henry Parrish Jr. is going to be the surprise on this team. I think he's going to come in and have a leadership role that people aren't expecting because he's a transfer in, but people forget that he was in Oxford for 2 years. He has a comfortability factor with his coaches and everything, what is expected. I think he is going to have a big year. And I think Deion Smith is the most important player on Ole Miss's offense for Trey Harris. I think the offense is going to be a lot better than it could be because Deion Smith is going to take double teams off of Trey Harris, and Trey Harris is the number one graded player in all of college football going against single coverage. I think those are my surprise players going into this year.
That's a really good pick. And I'll be honest, Deion Smith has kind of fluctuated in and out of my mind. I love to think of how good of a roster you are, but that wide receiver room may be one of the 3 best wide receiver rooms in the country. We have so much depth. And again, it's not just depth. It's the ability that our guys can do a lot of different things in a lot of different positions and a lot of different scenarios within our offense. And we've seen Charlie Wise over the last few years under Lane Kiffin. We like to go. And I think that our wide receivers give us the ability to get to that line of scrimmage quickly and do something that a defense really can't set up for in the way that we play tempo offense. And as well, Deion Smith is a really good open field tackle breaker, and we run a lot of RPOs, and that can really help us out a lot on offense. So that's a really good mention to Deion Smith. Expect him to have a big year, and of course has seen the realms of what a Lane Kiffin offense could look like as well.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen of the day. And listen, when we come back, we'll talk about the number of quarterback cowboy hats we are going to see at SEC Media Days, and also Ole Miss dropped a new uniform over the course of the day. So we'll see and talk about that as well. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing the way we want them to. But if FanDuel lets me keep these sports going whenever I want, all I have to do is open the app and dream up bets at any time I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. Maybe you can bet on Ole Miss Rebels over/under on wins, which currently sits at 9.5. Maybe you're interested in the Ole Miss being minus 122 to make the college football playoff, or maybe you want to get a little more granular and have Jackson Dart plus 1,500 to win the Heisman Trophy. Maybe that is your flavor. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all of that screaming and shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Daylan, today, Ole Miss just randomly on June 24th decided that, hey, we are going to drop potentially the best uniform in all of college football.
Yeah, I love it too. What has stood out to me about the jerseys? By the way, I love our white jerseys in general,
Mm.
but the Vapor Max kind of on the right above the chest and neck area is really what stood out to me. And it's kind of like the 2012, 2013 vibe of that old like Nike PE jerseys that they used to make that they haven't made in a very long time. But I love it. I especially love our white jerseys. We wore a white jersey with the red chromes against Georgia last year, and those are probably my favorite jerseys too. And I love it. You know, it's you think about things like this, and you may ask yourself from a fan perspective, cool, why does this really matter? It matters through a lot of different points, but and I said this a few weeks ago, our social media team has done a really good job with making these edit videos and promoting them well, and that reaches out to recruits. And you know, guys see these things, and you may think jerseys, what can that really do to a recruit? It makes a lot of big difference. I promise you, it does. And I love it. I really do. I think it's something that has kept us in the middle of this moment where we're not playing football, kept our social media team still thriving, and in a way that people are still following the team and keeping up with the team. So I love it. I think it's a new embark to kind of see the swag and confidence we have for what is hoped to be a really hyped season for our football team. So I'm excited, and I love it. I really think that the jerseys look really good and clean and sharp. I think the white is probably some of the fan favorites as well, but I love what the jerseys are looking like right now.
Yeah, and they have the gimmick right now of wearing a different jersey for every single game. So you won't see the same jersey twice. But the way it was set up a year ago is that meant you saw the white jerseys with red numbers 5 times. It might have a different helmet and all of that. This gives you a little bit of variety. I think this uniform has a chance to be a top 5 uniform in all of college football. Now, I would like to see some colored pants to come into the equation. I do not like monochromatic looks on everything. And I get that that is the style at the moment, but I would like to see powder blue pants with like 2 white stripes down the side, navy blue pants with 2 white stripes down the side. I think that look would be a way to add that. That is the next step for Ole Miss football.
I agree, man. I love the different color pants. And I'll say one thing that may be a little bit of a reach, but I would love to see like a red helmet in the near future. I think that could match really well with some of our different jersey combinations. But I think just seeing these things are kind of a realization of how we're adapting and evolution with today's college football world.
Yeah, and then the Realtree helmet is the
Mm-hmm.
next step. I mean, that is coming out, and the next uniform thing that is going to pop up. And right now, the rumor is, and like I said, I don't know how valid it is, but that's the rumor that is out right now, is a Navy-based digital camouflage jersey from Realtree, or digital camouflage helmet from Realtree.
I love it. And I may be wrong saying this, but I don't think I've seen any other team with the Realtree helmets since in the totality that we've done it. And I love it. Those are actually probably one of my favorite. I have me a Realtree shirt. Actually, I think that kind of just brings a bit of what we are as a culture and who we are as a team. And I love them. I think that it's also good fan enjoyment too. Like I really think we have developed over the last few years some of the best jersey helmet combinations that most teams in the college football world.
Yeah, I say this on the podcast tomorrow is like we do the variety thing that Oregon does. We've developed that is becoming Ole Miss's brand, but we don't cheat. We don't have to cheat. Everything that Ole Miss is doing is something traditionally linked to Ole Miss. It's not a situation like Florida just saying, hey, we want to wear black jerseys because black is cool. No, everything that Ole Miss does is traditionally in Ole Miss's catalog. And to the point where in the future, if Ole Miss wants to do additions with the white jerseys, with the Navy jerseys, Navy numbers, that is something that is traditionally done. Heck, Steve Sloan and Billy Brewer wore those uniforms. And if Ole Miss decides on Navy pants, that is even on the catalog. So Ole Miss might not be able to do traditionally a blackout, but they can do a Navy blue out, and they have done that. And that is something that would look good. And like I said, there's some stuff that is coming in the future that would be interesting. I do want to see the Navy uniforms get taken care of because right now it's kind of the middle child of Ole Miss's colors.
I'd also love to see with this new jersey how they put out maybe different color schemes for fans to wear, and what they would have us wear for this new jersey combination. I think sometimes that our color schemes that fans are supposed to wear sometimes not really color coordinated what the players are wearing. Sometimes we have questions about that, but I would love to see what they kind of put out for this and what game we may wear for these jerseys.
Yeah, I figure that they'll wear this jersey against Furman. And with the fans wearing white, I think that they'll wear this against Furman, and I think they'll wear the powder blue helmet because I think they're going to save it. As far as wearing all white, I think for the Arkansas game. That is my thought.
I like that because we wore a navy helmet with gray pants and white jerseys at Arkansas a few years ago. So I would definitely love to see that combination kind of mixed up in favor. I like that idea. We may got to get you on the creative team for the football team, Steve.
Seriously, I've got thoughts. I've got ideas. Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Anyway, Daylan, are you going to make it down to the meet and greet next week?
I may be able to. I'm not 100% sure right now based on my schedule, but I will definitely do my best to, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hey, we got some swag that's going to be brought in. Like I'm going to bring some stickers and hopefully if they come in, some tumblers are going to be making the trip down to Ridgeland. We'll have the Justin from Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles will be in the house as well. And we are working on something currently with the College Corner to have a little bit of extra swag. So, I mean, that could be pretty cool indeed. But what do you got going on, Daylan?
So right now I just got back to Oxford and I'm actually a part of a mentorship program at the university that I've been helping out with. And it's kind of like, it's called Fast Track, but I'm getting kind of incoming freshmen kind of oriented to the campus and getting them set up with classes. So I've been doing that and a few things. I actually just got back from Philadelphia. And I worked a sports broadcasting camp with play-by-play sports broadcasting camps. And I was a counselor for some young kids from like ages 8 to 17 who are aspiring to be sports journalists. And I was once that kid and I attended the camp and now I had the opportunity in Philadelphia and I did Dallas a few weeks ago as well to just kind of be a mentor role and give them advice and answer questions or help them do things that maybe they wanted to do. And so it was really fun. Like I really enjoy being around youth that have the same like love and aspirations that I do and once did when I was their age. And so it's really cool to see that there's still a lot of kids that are aspiring to be in the world of sports journalism.
Yeah, that is really cool. And this is kind of, even if you do it in a small way like we do it, it's just really cool to do the sports journalism thing. So Daylan, thank you very much. And if you come down to Ridgeland next week, I'll see you then. If not, we will obviously have you on the show in 2 weeks because I am going to be full go this week. And I am going to be on the road next week, so it might look a little different in programming, but I'm planning on doing remote shows from Mississippi. But Daylan, thank you very much, bud, and we'll talk to you later.
Of course, man. Howdy toddy, y'all, and stay cold a little bit during this hot and summer heat right now, guys.